Hello and welcome to the Club Development Scotland podcast, brought to you by Supporters Direct Scotland. In this week's podcast, we'll be speaking to Kevin Stewart, chairman of Deveronvale Community Football Club, who are winners of this year's Scottish FA's Community Club of the Year award, and fully deserved it was too. In the podcast, we'll be discussing the recent growth of the club and how they've responded to the COVID-19 crisis to support the local community and take their impact as a club beyond providing sport and physical activity to providing essential support to vulnerable people through the setup of their hub, which we'll be looking at in a bit of depth. So without further ado, here's Kevin Stewart, Deveronvale Community Football Club chairman. Kevin, thank you so much for joining us today. Firstly, congratulations on winning Best Community Club of the Year, a huge accomplishment. What's the response been like since you won the award last month?
So I guess the response has been, it's been phenomenal. It's been between newspapers and local radio stations, and I guess probably one of the biggest things is getting, I guess, fellow grassroots clubs and fellow local clubs kind of thing, taking the time to basically congratulate the club and what it's achieved. It's been massive, and it's been quite a good thing, and it's kind of maybe shows how much it doesn't only mean to our club, but it means to other clubs in our area. Because we're a small part in the northeast, and I think it's good to see the regional clubs getting involved as well and sending their congratulations. I guess we've also had local MSP Stuart Stevenson and MP David Ducat have sent their well wishes from the House of Commons and the House of Parliament, which has been quite amazing. The Lord Lieutenant of Hampshire took the time out just before Christmas as well to send his best wishes as well. So no, it's been phenomenal. There's been a lot of social media stuff. There's been a lot of attention, if you like, and which has been really good. It's been good for everybody at the club.
Yeah, absolutely, and a sort of a nice recognition for all the efforts, I guess, of everyone involved and all the volunteers involved in the club.
Yeah.
So just for a bit of background for anyone sort of unaware with the club, could you tell us a bit of the kind of the makeup, the setup of the club, how many teams you run, what types of activities, number of participants?
Yeah, so it probably goes back a long time without going really back too far. But I guess 1985 was when the club first started, and it was actually my father was one of the co-founding members of the original Banff Boys back in the day. And I guess things evolved over time. I got involved 14 years ago. I did play at the club as well. Like I would say, probably 90% of our coaching team have all played at the club.
Wow.
Or played a part of the club in their time as well. So it's very much we got a lot of people giving back, which is pleasing to see. And I guess 14 years ago when I got involved, and it was only because my son was ready to go and play football at 3 years old. I got involved in coaching, and at that time it was Devon Youth. So Devon Youth kind of concentrated on primary age group kids right up to primary 7. And then within, obviously, there was Deveronvale FC, who took the youth, so the under 13s to under 17s. And then you had Deveronvale Girls as well, who were just introduced probably, 14, 15 years ago, around about the same time. So I spent 3 years coaching, if you like. I got involved. I had no intention of getting involved, to be honest, but got involved. Spent 3 years. I guess things I then got pushed onto the committee as the club secretary. And there was a real change at that time, because the football, it was gala football, and you used to spend 8 hours at a gala on a weekend. You used to train the whole year for 3 months of football. And then you go to these galas on a Saturday, you go there on a Sunday, you spend 8 hours at these galas, and it was kicking and screaming, it was jumping and shouting at the sides, and it was when I look back, it was horrendous because there was so much stuff going on, and the youngsters are under so much pressure, I guess, to perform. And out of that 8 hours at that gala day, that kids would maybe spend about maybe 30 to 40 minutes playing time for the whole day. So thankfully things changed. Just about, well, that was 3 years into my time. The whole pathway changed to the 4s, the 5s. The fun 4s and the 5s were introduced, and things kind of changed and developed a wee bit. There was new people got involved in the committee, if you like, at the club, and there was a real drive to go and say, right, this is an opportunity to go make change. So I guess through communicating, I think at that time I tried to get everybody involved, or we tried to get that link with Deveronvale closer, but at that time there wasn't much appetite for it. And then I guess as things evolved, I came to primary 7 for my youngster, if you like. And I guess my time at the club, and already jumped on the quality mark thing. And I think when I left, we were a development quality club, which was a big achievement at the time, because I mean, we were working with 86 kids, I think it was. To then it was a case I moved over, had been asked to get involved with Deveronvale FC to their youth setup, and they had already had a long-standing reputation for youth, but maybe in the last 2-3 years of that time it kind of dipped, maybe near that togetherness, if you like. So I got asked would I get involved in something that I was wanting to, but I thought not sure, this is a bigger fish here, so I thought nah. And then the more I thought about it, I thought, well, hey, if I do it, who else is going to do it? So I thought, we'll take a bull by the horns and let's get involved. And then I guess at that point, it was then where, right, can we pool Devon youth, can we pool Deveronvale youth and Deveronvale girls together, and ladies, well, it was only girls at that time, pool them together to make one club. Because I guess our kind of thought is the cluster of Banff Academy, the school Banff Academy is a cluster, is what we try to target. So, but we got everybody together, and for then it just kind of stemmed. I mean, Amanda Allen, who's been involved in the girls since day dot, she came to me and said, look, we want to start a ladies team. And I'm saying, crack on, go for it. Is the club going to support that? She said, and I was like, absolutely, let's go for it. So we introduced a ladies team into the fold as well. They ran for 3 years, and everything kind of pooled itself together. And we went from 86 kids to at that point 250 kids. I had arranged a meeting with all the local clubs, all the local grassroots club, because local football was kind of disappearing a wee bit, and it was to the point of, unless you're willing to travel Aberdeen, local football is basically non-existent. So we'd maybe changed our kind of thing to say, right, we're going to get committed kids, blah, blah, blah. But then if we pool other clubs together, then maybe we could all work on it together to go and get everybody playing football. So I arranged a meeting up at Banff Academy, up at the school, with all the teams. There was people in the room, so it involved all the local grassroots clubs in that cluster of Banff Academy. And kind of maybe just set a vision and said, look, this is how we're set up just now. And I think there was like 12 clubs in an area of 10-mile radius of Banff. And really there was a lot of kids who weren't playing football or not involved in football at all. So it was basically a case of, right, this is our vision, let's all come together, be one club, and let's go and push. So I mean, I guess at that point there wasn't much uptake from the separate clubs themselves, but I think when the vision went out that this is what we were trying to do, we then started getting players coming into the club. As much as the local grassroots clubs never really, they agreed the idea was good, but they weren't sure if the timing was right. And it was like, I can't force anybody to go and jump on the bandwagon. All I can do is put the vision of what we're trying to achieve here, and then it's up to you guys to decide if you want to come on board or not. But then what we found after that, and when the word got out, and this one club basically coming together, I think parents themselves started saying, well, look, this is an opportunity for us to move, because we did have Deveronvale FC Youth did have there was that thing around the club that you have to be scouted to play for a club, you've got to be handpicked to play for a club, and we changed that completely. We wanted to get away from, we don't want to be a club that you've got to be asked to come and play for us. We want to be a club that if you want to come and play football, you come and play football. So I think when that message went out, things we obviously started getting more players involved, which has taken us really to today, where we're sitting we're sitting at 338 kids
Wow.
that are registered at the club, and then we've got another 20 kids who are youngsters who are playing with our mini kickers. It's a free offering it's a free sessions that we offer for us kids under 3 years old. 3 years old and under, we don't charge fees for it. It's a free session. So we're really kicking near 350 players just now, and about 60 coaches we're sitting at. So
Yeah, that's an incredible kind of growth, isn't it? From how many did you say you had? 38 kids, was it?
We had 86 to start with. 86 kids to start with. To now we're say 350 kids.
Yeah, and just through, I suppose, opening up and a bit of partnership work with nearby clubs, you're able to achieve something much bigger, I guess, through not only in terms of numbers but in terms of impact as well, presumably.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I guess historically it used to be the local grassroots clubs only went to primary 7, and then it was if you're good enough, you'll go to play Deveronvale Youth at under 13, and at that time you could have been sending away maybe 10 to 15 youngsters who maybe didn't make that grade at under 13, because who in their right mind has got the qualifications or anything to turn around and say, nah, sorry, you're not good enough to continue playing football.
Yeah.
So that's something that we changed to say, no, we want to give every youngster an opportunity to go and continue playing football for as long as they possibly can. So it's our thing now, where it used to maybe be, right, we've got 30 players at primary 7, and you maybe pick a squad of 20 to go and play under 13, 11-a-side football. Now we'll say, right, we'll run 2 teams with 2 squads of 50. So that we're not telling anybody that they're not good enough to play football anymore. So
Yeah.
So that was a big changer for us, I think.
And undoubtedly that growth has played a part in your award as the best community club. But there's obviously also the kind of community facing work that you've been doing over the kind of past 12 months, and COVID's presented lots of challenges for sports clubs of all shapes and sizes, but actually you as a club have done something quite different in terms of how you deal with that, I guess, or how you can play a part in tackling that and making the situation better for everyone. I wanted to specifically ask you about your hub that you developed in the last 12 months. Could you just perhaps tell us a little bit about what the hub is and how it started?
Yeah, so we introduced the hub probably, what was that, June, the end of June, start of July. And it was always an idea that we had, but it was never one that we could get anybody to jump on or basically bite my hand off, if you like. It was always kind of the idea was there. And it kind of started off really as a boot bank. So there was football boots, shin pads, there was kits, so that anybody in the club who maybe were coming back to football after the lockdown, that their boots were too small or their kits were small or they didn't have football boots anymore. It was just a case of, right, this is what we're going to offer. But once we got it started, it kind of got a different feel, and we put it out to the community basically to say, look, we are looking for donations because we very quickly found out that there was a bigger need in the community, not just within our club, but within our wider community, that people maybe who had lost their jobs or been affected by whole COVID, that maybe been restricted, their funds have been reduced, their income's been reduced. So we kind of said, right, let's put this out to the community, see if we can get any donations. So we just put an appeal out to the wider community, saying through Facebook, basically saying, look, we're taking donations of clothes, anything that anybody could get the good use of. So then it kind of stemmed from there. We were inundated with donations of clothes. There was toys, there was books, there was activity packs, there was all sorts of things that were going out to support the community. To then, where I think since we started, we've supported about 120 families.
Wow.
We've fully furnished 2 flats.
Wow.
And that's been like single parents that have come into the community that have basically got nothing, and they came to us looking for help initially just for clothes. Through conversation and through engaging with them, saying, well, look, and how else can we help here, and what is your situation? And people telling us their situation, and we say, right, let's go and put an appeal out for certain items. And I think initially it was just maybe bedding, it was cots for the youngsters, stuff like that. To then we ended up putting sofas in, beds, double single beds, cot beds. There was coffee, TVs, you name it, and everything for that person to get a good start in their life. So that was a big story, kind of good news story, I guess, for us, that we've made a difference. We obviously engage with the other kind of food banks and the other community groups that are doing sort of near enough the same kind of thing. And as much as it was not the idea to tread an MD's toes or to double up a service that is out there in the community, we basically found a gap in the market, really, and said, look, this is where we are, because we don't take any. There's not any money comes across our path. It's we take donations and we distribute it simply. We don't take donations of money, although there are people who have donated since the build-up of it, have donated cash to further our support. But first coming to us, we are giving them clothes, whatever it, and it's free. It's because we have realised that the people who are coming to us are people who need help, and we are simply here just to help people, and that's not putting any more financial strain onto them or for us to have financial gain for that. It's simply purely and simply just for us to help people in our community. But it's been fantastic. It's been phenomenal since it started. And long may, I guess. Christmas time as well was one of the things that how can we get kids involved, get the kids at the club involved, so that they are feeling part of the community hub as well. So we introduced Advent. It was a reverse initiative. So we basically gave every team, so we've got 17 teams at the club. So we gave every team a list of items. So come 10th of December it was, so come the 10th of December, each team would then basically donate a hamper with the items that we had put on a list. So the teams, as they've done every year, we always support charity, and it's kind of a lot of the time it's been like last year was a Home Start Deveronvale, a local charity here, who we made a Christmas jumper, training sessions, and they donate to the cause, blah blah blah. We did it with Cash for Kids the year before, but this year, instead of taking the cash donations, we were taking food donations. So we ended up with 35 hampers, I think we ended up with, and 35 families that we supported. So although we had the items on our list, we then got people who donated veg. We got patties, there was veg, the local butcher, and he was wanting to support and help as well. So we ended up supplying 35 turkeys with all the trimmings, you know. So that was a big boost to these hampers as well. And then so Kevin Stewart, the local butcher here, he had Andy there had supplied these turkeys and the local all the trimmings, if you like, for their Christmas lunch. Veg was supplied. There was all sorts of things, you know. The puddings were supplied by Annie's Cakery, a local business here as well. And then the Nows Hotel in Macduff, they had supplied 2 extra hampers that we distributed out to another family that through social work that were looking for support. And then we actually had wasn't a very good, but locally we had a break into a family who the father is basically terminally ill. It was an opportunity for us, as much as the family weren't. They're not placed in a bad way financially, but it was a goodwill gesture, and we says, look, take us from us. It's something less to think about. Christmas is 3 days away. Go and have your Christmas lunch and all the trimmings on us, if you like. So it was good that we were able to support that way as well. So there's been a lot of things for the Reverse Advent. We've had a few initiatives. Our local radio station has got on, and they've promoted us. We've had the local car detailing enhancement, bodywork place, Stuart Jean Bodywork. They donated an enhanced detail and ceramic coating kind of thing, which raised £1,000 into the club as well. So or into the hub. So people have certainly pulled together over Christmas to go and help and support one another through this rocky period.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the impact is quite incredible, really, for a community club, and I guess it demonstrates what a club can do within its community, sort of outwit just providing physical activity and sport. You know, being able to assist with those kind of things is huge, and I guess you as a football club in the heart of that community are kind of uniquely placed to be able to assist with that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's one of the things that football's a very, very powerful. It's a powerful sport, you know, and if we can use the power of football to further gain our community and develop and support, then we've got to use the advantage. And there's many other communities can do exactly the same thing as well. And if you've got that reputation, it helps as well. And I think with the hub starting up, it was certainly I mean, we went from 2 volunteers to I think we've got 8 now. We've got 8 volunteers. We did put an appeal out for more volunteers for the hub, and we ended up getting like 15 people applying, you know. So it's been fantastic that people within the club are volunteering at the hub as well. But we've also got people out with the club that just want to do something for our community. And they've seen the hub as a way to do that. So it's been fantastic, really, really good.
Yeah, absolutely. And when you won the award last month, the SFA produced a really nice video about the club, and in the video you mentioned about a kind of recent shift in the philosophy of the club, and I guess everything you've described there is sort of exemplifies that and how that works in practice. But I wondered if you could just expand on how you kind of reached that point where you decided you wanted to do more than just, you know, be a community club, I guess.
Yeah, I think it probably goes back. I would probably say it maybe goes back try to think when it was. Would that be 5 years ago? I was fortunate enough to go to Denmark with the Scottish FA North region. So there was a squad of, I think, 12 of us, I think it went over on a study trip to see how other countries go about their business and how other clubs are set up, and it was an absolutely amazing experience, and one that I'll never forget, again, for various reasons. But I think one of the biggest things that I found in Denmark was that there was just that whole big community feel that, and a lot of it's driven by government as well, and how they support football, or support sport in general, not necessarily football, but how they support sport from a financial point of view as well, to basically trying to get everybody playing it. I mean, because there were some clubs there that wasn't just about football. They had basketball, they had netball, they had all sorts of different sports, all playing under the same badge. There was a grassroots club similar to us who had all the teams under the sun. They had their own setup, they had their own pavilion, but there was just that whole community feel that people were feeling part of something bigger, helping each other. And I guess from there, that maybe inspired me a wee bit. I wouldn't say a wee bit, probably a massive part, that when I came back for there, I'm thinking to myself, right, I need to try and change this whole, I guess, the philosophy and how we set up and how we go about our business. And I guess probably from that point, it was right, let's be a club that's open. Let's be a club that's open to all. And can we develop other areas that isn't just on performance football? Because very much, and I mean, hey, football is a sport that everybody wants to win. But maybe sometimes through the past that we've maybe missed opportunities because we've just focused on winning that A-League, not interested in teams playing B-League or C-League and stuff like that, and maybe forgetting about actual youngsters themselves, and how much they change and develop at different times in their football pathway. So I guess changing that, maybe try to get that ethos that, yeah, we are a club for all, and if you want to play football, you come and play football. We aren't going to tell you, no, sorry, you're not good enough, you're not getting to play for Deveronvale Community. Now it's basically a case of, right, let's open it up, let's get as much teams as we can playing and as much youngsters playing football, but at the same time thinking, how can we get this club back out into the community and doing other things? The hub's just I'm saying it's just a start. How it's expanded and how that reputation has got on in a very short space of time has been phenomenal. So I mean, I guess it's just changing that to say, look, we need to go and grow. We want to grow. We want to build. We want to develop. But not only football, we have to be going support and other initiatives.
I suppose that
and we do have great plans. Sorry?
I was just going to say, I suppose that takes me quite nicely on to my last question, which is, what kind of other things do you have planned for the future? You know, obviously the hub has already made such a widespread impact within the community, but I know that you and the club have lots of plans for the future. So what kind of initiatives, what kind of things are you kind of looking at that you can go and add value to within the local area?
Yeah, so I mean, I guess you're fully aware we're waiting on a SKIO application to come back, which for us is being kind of, it's probably going to push us in another direction, where can we expand the hub? Can we introduce a community cafe? Can we introduce new facilities? Can we maybe go and take on a facility? Can we take ownership of a facility, or maybe an asset transfer of a facility? Or maybe use the Community Empowerment Act to go and take on a facility that is already in our community, because we are at the point now where we need to take ownership of a facility, or maybe a few facilities, so that we can maybe put what we spend on council run training facilities. Can we take that expenditure out of, maybe not, I wouldn't say out of the council pot, but maybe putting it back into a facility we can further develop, because I always grudge every year when I see the balance of how much we pay for council facilities, but at the same time, I always think myself, right, how can we further develop that cash to develop our own facility for the benefit, and not just us, but for the future generations to come. So, so there's big plans. I think it's just putting them into practice and getting things moving.
Wow, I really look forward to seeing what happens with that in the near future. I have no doubt that we'll see a few more very exciting initiatives develop at the club in the near future. And thank you very much for...
Well, fingers crossed.
Yeah, well, and hopefully, there'll be somebody listening to this, much like your trip to Denmark, that hears that and sees it, an example of best practice, and can go and apply that at their own club. So thank you very much for taking your time to come speak to us.
No worries, Andrew. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for your time as well.
Perfect. That's great. Thank you so much, Kevin. I enjoyed that.
Was that good enough? I didn't waffle too much, did I?
No.
So there you have it. That was Kevin Stewart, chairman of Deveronvale Community Football Club, who were winners of the Scottish FA's 2020 Community Club of the Year award. I found that really, really fascinating. Just listening to some of the things that Kevin and the club have been doing throughout the local area, genuinely very inspiring, and already sort of lots of food for thought. And hopefully there's people listening to this podcast that are already thinking about the different things that they could be doing within their local area to develop the club's impact within it. Hopefully you enjoyed listening to that, and we'll be back next week with another podcast. So until then, see you later.